Okay, 8.7 is not the opposite of 8.6, but in these problems, basically it's not in vertex form. So in order to find the vertex, you have to find x. And in order to find x, you have to use the formula of x equals negative b over 2a. So if I make a little list over here, a is 1, b is 8, c is 20, and then I use this formula, x equals negative b, it's going to be negative 8 over 2 times a, which is really just 2, and then divide that, and 2 goes into 8 4 times, but it's going to be a negative 4. So x equals negative 4. Now, I need to go and find my y. The way that I'm going to do that is by substituting that negative 4 in. So f of negative 4 equals negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 20. So if I do this negative 4 times 2, 4 times 4 is 16, and the negative times the negative is going to become a positive 16, plus 8 times a negative 4 is going to be a negative 32, and then you have this positive 20. And when you combine them all, what you're going to end up with is you have your 20 and your 16, that's 36 positive, negative 32. So f of negative 4 equals a positive 4 because the 36 was positive. Or you could think about it as y being 4. So really your vertex is going to be at the point negative 4, positive 4. And your axis of symmetry is going to go through here. The stem is going to go through negative 4. And then we're going to graph it. So we're going to come on over here and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 4. And then up 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to be our vertex. And it's going to open upward because the leading coefficient is positive. And there you have it. The next one is this. And same thing, we are going to do x equals negative b over 2a. I need to know that a is 1 and b is 5 from right here. And c is 4. So over here, what I'm going to have is negative b is going to be negative 5 over 2a, and 2 times this 1 is going to be 2. So really I can just leave it at that. I do need to remember that that's roughly negative 2.5, so when I put it on the number line I kind of know where it is. So again, now I'm going to come and substitute it in order to find the y value. So negative 5 halves equals, or the f of x equals, and then you have negative 5 halves squared plus 5 times negative 5 halves plus 4. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do negative 5 squared is going to be a positive 25, and 2 squared is going to be a positive 4. And then over here I need to kind of find a common denominator. So actually that's not true. First I'm going to do this. I'm going to do plus 5 times 5 is negative 25 on the numerator, and 2 is the denominator, and then I have this 4. Now I need to make a common denominator here. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 over 2. So I'll have 25 fourths plus negative 50 fourths plus, and then I need to do the same thing here. So times 4 over 4. So 4 times 4 is 16, and 1 times 4 is 4. So if everything's over the 4, you have the common denominator, you're going to cancel out 25 from this. So now you're left with negative 25. Then you're going to combine it with this positive 16. And what you're going to get is a negative 9/4. And that becomes your g of negative 5. And that really becomes your y for your vertex. So your vertex is going to equal negative 5 halves and negative 9/4. And then this becomes your axis of symmetry. And I will show you that on here. Oh, I never showed you the axis of symmetry up here. That wasn't good. But over here, basically I'm going to go to negative 5 halves. Like I said, that is about 2.5, which is going to be right there. And then your negative 9/4 is really about 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 is about right here. So this is my axis of symmetry. And it's going to open upward like this. And the vertex is here at negative 5 halves and negative 9/4. And I've graphed that one. I'm going to go on to the back side. This is a long video. Hope I have room. That would really suck. Okay, here we go. So problem 38 talks about, same idea, you're going to do x equals negative b over 2a. So you've got your a, your b, and your c. A is 4, b is 16, and c is 13. So I'm going to have x equals negative 16 over 2 times 4, which is 8. If I divide that out, x is going to become, 8 goes into 16 twice, a negative 2. So the f of negative 2, I'm going to stick all the parts in. So 4 times negative 2 squared, plus 16x would be good. So 16 times negative 2 plus 13. So first I'm going to square this. So I'm going to do negative 2 times negative 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And I'm going to have a positive 4. So 4 times 4 goes here, plus 16 times negative 2, which is going to be a negative 32, plus this 13. So 4 times 4 is 16, plus a negative 32, plus a 13. Combine all of those, and y, or really the f of a negative 2, equals negative 3. So your vertex is going to be at negative 2, negative 3. So here I go, 1, 2, and then down 1, 2, 3. So that's my vertex, and my parabola is going to open up. The only thing is that the y-intercept is up here at positive 13. So I'm going to mark my line of symmetry here. But I feel like it's going to be a pretty narrow parabola. And here is the line of symmetry at negative 2. Not line of symmetry, axis of symmetry. All right, last problem. I'm at 9 minutes. This is a long one. Okay, so x equals negative b over 2a. So x equals a is a half, b is a 3. Ooh, it's a negative 3. That's important. And c is 2. Let's make sure I copy that problem right. Okay, so if this is a negative 3 on the top, really it's going to become a positive 3. Right? So if that's negative 3, yep, that's a 3 on the numerator, and then 2 times a half is going to be 1. So really, x equals a positive 1. Okay, so then if I do h of 1, and then 1/2 times 1 squared minus 3 times 1 plus 2. So basically what you have is 1 times 1 is 1, so 1 squared, and then half of 1 is going to be 0.5 minus 3 times 1 is still going to be 3 plus 2. And so now when you combine all these, you have a -1 from these guys, and then a +1/2. So it's going to be a -0.5. So the h of 1 is going to equal a -0.5. So the vertex for this guy is going to be 1 and a -0.5. And so this would be the axis of symmetry. And same thing, I can see that this is going to be at 2, so there's going to be a point at +2 on the y-intercept. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go +1, so +1, and then a -0.5 down here. So that's my line of symmetry, and you can see that it's going to intercept the y at this +2. So that is my problems.